All right, I'm looking pretty scroungy. I just got out of the sauna and went to the gym, but I'm going to answer these questions about being an expert witness. So, I am a forensic psychologist, and there's homeless people swarming my car with baskets, so let's make sure my door is locked. I rarely provide expert testimony, and I have been, in the last 10 years, I've gone to the state hospital, I've gone to jails, I've wrote risk assessments for parole, probation, sex offenders, family law, CPS, civil suits, everything. And I have been asked, so I've written, over 1,000 reports and maybe a few hundred this last year. And maybe 3 times this last year, I was subpoenaed to testify, once in a CPS case, once in a murder case, probably a couple incompetency cases. Anyway, I never had to testify. What happens is they actually drop them at the last minute. There was another DV case I was going to testify in. They cancel it at the last minute, usually the night before. And I have only testified this year in it was a murder, and no one objected my testimony. They didn't disagree with it. So actually being called to testify is pretty rare. And I would be at the highest level of being called for testimony, considering I write court reports and am appointed by the Superior Court of California and Ohio and Nevada, and I provide services now in 40 states. But I focus on California and Nevada. I am licensed in both those states. So yes, I am asked to provide a second or third opinion sometimes, and sometimes that means I'm a tiebreaker for certain opinions. There's this homeless lady coming just circling my car. And so that can happen for a lot of reasons. When it happens in competency, because I do those evaluations 3 times a week, at least. Sometimes someone's competent and then they're no longer competent, right? They could go off their meds, they could do drugs or any number of things, and so they bring in another person. But yeah, I'm a tiebreaker a lot. There's a new case I picked up that's very litigious. 2 other forensic psychologists bowed out of it. I got appointed, and I'll make it confidential so that it just doesn't become any more litigious than it is, especially when it comes to like celebrities or people that they're in positions of power and they have a lot of money and they want so you do get bribed for your opinion, by the way, and of course I would never take that, but you really have to. So there's certain people I would never work with, and there's a lot of corruption in courts, especially family law. So anyway, I hope I answered all your questions. So I would say my feedback would be, know your stuff, and that is why it's important getting hands-on training. Know your clinical assessments. I use clinical assessments in almost every single one of my evaluations, if I can, meaning the person is capable of taking an assessment. I use sometimes 3 or 4 or 5 assessments, and I take it very serious, and I back up my opinion, and so I know my clinical diagnosis and testing is really important in forensic cases. So that is the most important skill set. And when you show the proof in your report and you tell a story about it, show the proof, people, by the time they're done reading your report, they agree also. And so I'm not challenged. Every time I've been challenged, they've dropped calling me to testify. I just did my first deposition testimony this last week, and I testified for about 6.5 hours straight, and that was on a civil case. So I would just say, make sure you know what you're talking about, and your report should be bulletproof, and then it's easy to talk about that. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna go into Safeway here. That's what's going on tonight. All right, I hope I answered all your questions.